Welcome to ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy. Let's talk about the hexagons in WandaVision. When they were used to close out the first episode's ending credits, I thought, oh, well, that's weird. Then they popped up again in episode 2, and they're all over episode 3, and then there was Bee Guy, and bees live in hives. Hives are made of hexagons, and this wallpaper looks like a beehive if you squint. What is happening?
Not the bees! Ah!
Then episode 4 shows us that the field around Westview is also hexagon shaped, meaning this reality is contained within a hexagon, just like the show itself is bookended by hexagons in the credits. So, what does this mean? Well, some people have theorized that this is a simple Easter egg, a nod to her hex powers in the comics.
What's a hex?
It's what I'm calling the anomaly because of its hexagonal shape. It's starting to catch on.
Now, I could go along with that, except Jimmy Woo is also wondering about it on his whiteboard. I don't think this show would call so much attention to this if it were a simple Easter egg. So, I'm going to go over a few theories and tell you which one I think is the most accurate. As always, I want to hear from you in the comments or at me on Twitter, and subscribe if you're here for the first time. Now, many people have theorized that the hexagons are connected to the villain Mephisto. He's like the devil in Marvel Comics. In the books, Wanda's children are actually fragments of Mephisto's soul, making them the Horcruxes of comic book Satan.
Well, isn't that special?
See, hexagons have 6 sides and 6 vertices and 6 angles, making 666, which Iron Maiden tells us is... The YouTube channel Heavy Spoilers, which is run by a named Paul, had a very sound Mephisto theory. He thinks the Mephisto is actually Agnes's husband Ralph.
Did you lose power too?
Oh, sure did. But Ralph looks better in the dark, so I'm not complaining.
Now, as I've said in several videos, Agnes is probably Wanda's mentor, Agatha Harkness. In the comics, Agatha is a real witch who was alive during the Salem witch trials, which occurred on June 2nd.
The only way Ralph would remember our anniversary is if there was a beer named June 2nd.
The women who were burned at the stake were accused of marrying the devil in an occult ceremony. Heavy Spoilers goes on to theorize that Tyler Hayward is secretly Mephisto. Now, this is a little bit of a stretch for me. The show goes out of its way to make us hate him.
We don't know enough about the nature of the threat to send in another agent when the first is yet to return.
Someone must really miss you back at Quantico.
To make him look like an obvious villain. But New Rockstars, another channel that's pointed out that these pictures in his office are in the shape of a hexagon. Look a little closer and you'll see hexagon patterns on his rug. And inside those hexagons, an hourglass figure. Now think of the role that time plays in Wanda's alternate reality. Time moves more quickly here, and the commercials all feature clocks, or timers, or simply a break from time. So the hourglass in the hexagon symbolizes how time is trapped within the hexagon of Westview. This could be a hint that Hayward is the devil, or it could just be clever
Production design?
So that's the Hayward is Mephisto and Ralph theory, and it's a good one. It wouldn't surprise me if it was true. I definitely think Mephisto is the leading contender to be the villain on the show. He and Wanda have history in the comics, and the only way to top Thanos as a big bad is to introduce the literal devil himself. But I don't think the hexagons are actually related to Mephisto. He's not particularly associated with hexagons in the comics, the way that, say, AIM is. But hexagons can't also just be randomly placed in the show. They have to have some significance in the MCU. Now, someone on Twitter, and I wish I could remember who it was or find the tweet, mentioned that hexagons have 6 sides, like the 6 Infinity Stones. Wanda's powers come from the Mind Stone, and her abilities work on the same energy frequency.
I just feel you.
And as I've explained in other videos, Wanda has the powers of every stone, kind of making her a living infinity gauntlet. Vision's Mind Stone was even surrounded by a hexagon. So let's look deeper into this connection. The Infinity Stones each represent an aspect of reality and were formed during the Big Bang. The Big Bang also released cosmic microwave background radiation, the same energy that Westview is radiating and that causes static on TV screens. Wanda radiates the energy because her powers come from the Infinity Stones, which were created at the same time as the CMB radiation. So this cosmic microwave background radiation in the MCU is given form by the Infinity Stones. So maybe a concentration of this energy in Westview would naturally create a 6-sided figure. Now that got me thinking that maybe hexagons are actually the building blocks of the universe that hold the MCU together. Why hexagons? Well, for instance, a hive is the most efficient structure in nature. Hexagons prevent any wasted space, unlike circles, which leave gaps between them. See, it always comes back to the bees.
Not the bees!
But I'm not just throwing this out there randomly. Think about where we've seen hexagons in the MCU before. space travel. In the Guardians movies and Avengers Endgame, ships travel using the Universal Neural Teleportation Network, or UNTN. Now, this is a network of wormholes that the characters call jump points.
It ain't healthy for a mammalian body to hop more than 50 jumps at a time. I know that. We're about to do 700.
This network is displayed as a grid of hexagons. Presumably, since they're using wormholes, these ships are passing through the fourth dimension, the dimension where time and space are one.
So a wormhole bends space like this, so you can take a shortcut through a higher dimension.
Perhaps the fourth dimension is held together with a network of hexagons.
Oh, there's so much I don't know about astrophysics.
Due to its connection to the Infinity Stones, these shapes could be the building blocks of the universe. Think of the Kree, one of the most advanced races in the universe, a civilization that's thousands of years old and spans countless worlds. They use hexagons everywhere on their capital of Hala. They work their way into the aesthetic designs, like the windows and the train. During the briefing, we see that they map Torfa with a hexagonal grid as well. Now that's interesting because planets also create dips in the fabric of the fourth dimension, making them part of that hexagonal structure. Consider the Supreme Intelligence, a collection of the greatest Kree minds from across the eons. Communicating with the Supreme Intelligence is a sacred ritual to the Kree, like going to see the Oracle.
So it's sacred. It's personal. No Kree divulges it, ever.
What was said was for you, and for you alone.
And the Kree visit their god by kneeling on a hexagon. So, if the most advanced civilization in the universe has placed hexagons at the center of their art, their science, and religion, it tells you that these shapes are important. Because, like I said, I think hexagons are the literal structure of the universe. Another fun theory is that Westview is actually part of this jump network, that the whole town is another point that you can jump from. The TV screen that Fury watches in space is made up of tiny hexagons, a subtle hint that the power to jump through space is linked to the power of television, through the cosmic microwave background radiation. Now, if that's the case, then SWORD could eventually use Westview to travel into space. Now, I'm reaching with this one, but whatever, I'm having fun. Tyler Hayward's chair does look like TV static, and it's placed in front of a star chart, proving that the static of Westview is a way to be transported into the stars. Eh?
Boo! Boo!
Okay, the chair in the map is overthinking it, but I still think the MCU's reality is made up of hexagons. Consider the quantum realm. It's tiny, it's weird, it's like the Tom Cruise in Marvel movies.
17 magazine. Yes!
The quantum realm is a gateway to other realities, but it also offers a way to travel through time or space, or to place your mind in someone else's body. So that's space, time, and mind. I mean, the quantum realm is like a backdoor into the power of the Infinity Stones. And in Ant-Man and the Wasp, how do they navigate the quantum realm? With hexagons. So now we have Wanda, using the energy of the Big Bang, the Infinity Stones, to create a new reality. But also, hexagons are used in the credits of the show, the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega. If hexagons are the building blocks of the universe, then for Wanda to create a new universe, she would start with a single hexagon like Westview. And so this new hexagon underpins the structure of this new reality. Now, if Mephisto is behind all of this, his endgame plan might be to control this new reality, to build a new network of hexagons that's under his dominion. Well, that's just what I think. If you have any thoughts, let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.